All right, looks like we're live. I'm gonna plug in my light. And 2 likes, so that's nice. It's running rough again, so I'm hoping that it doesn't end up being screwy looking. I hope it's not freezing up like it did the other time. If it is, then I'll have to share a new stream. Let's see. I'm gonna go in and see if I can see the live view on my phone, and if we can tell anything from that, that'll be good. Well, I've got no idea what that noise was. Weird. But it looks like it has evened out a little bit. I've got one person watching, so that's nice. Let me see if I can share the link in. If you guys want, we do have a messenger group called Bible Version Conspiracy -updates. And we are live. And then let me see if I can move this over. Whoops. Share, copy link. And as a reminder, the best two free ways that you can support what we are doing here on the Bible Version Conspiracy or card-carrying Christians is with your prayers and your shares. Now, you guys are going to have to let me know if I start running really, if there starts being lag and things. I'm going to try to monitor the live stream as best as I can on the phone, but I'm not going to be able to really have sound unless it shouldn't have stopped already. Let me see if I can connect my headphones to this. Let's see. Charles, if it's you that's having things stop, then that's the answer. So I'm going to turn it way down. I think that's as low as it goes. There is a little bit of static that I don't really like. I don't think that. Does that make a thumbs up anymore? Parenthesis, why, parenthesis? I really don't know. So I'm not even gonna. I'll just put a laughy face on it. Nope. Y in parentheses used to make a thumbs up. Don't go too deep without me. I'll try. The typing doesn't happen too fast. Just get like earbuds or something. I don't know. Don't worry, Charles. You can always jump on the recording after the fact. That'll work too. Which I have a monitor stand. So let me see if I can take you guys places. All right. So here's what we got going on right now. There we go. It's a little bit of a stand for the tablet because I couldn't really get the two monitor thing to work. That's going to be an over $200 solution someday. We'll have to see about that. And I do have plans to possibly, because I have a confession to make. I posted a while ago a debate between Chris Pinto and James White. And this debate was on the idea of whether or not, whoa, I like the blue on the wall back there, but it's not really significant enough. I don't know, but I guess this works. 6 people. I am happy about that. All right. So I do have plans. I have not. This debate that I posted between Chris Pinto and James White, I have not actually watched that yet. I've heard good things about it. I've heard people on the one side say that James White won. Mostly those are people that agree with White. The people on the Pinto side say that Chris Pinto won, obviously. So what I'd like to do is I would like to either do a live stream or a reaction video of some kind, some shape or form, where I actually watch through the whole thing, and I'm like, you know, James White has said conspiracy theory for the 300th time, and most of the comments say that Chris Pinto's arguments are all based on a conspiracy theory. So, therefore, James White won the debate because he accused Chris Pinto of having conspiracy theories. Things like that don't win debates, and they don't deal with evidence. There should not even be a question about Constantine Simonides. I don't even know what James White's real answer to why there is even a question about Simonides. Why did Simonides even claim to have written it? That shouldn't even be a thing. Unless he was like trying to get some kind of notoriety or whatever, but we still should listen to his statements, his arguments, and evaluate them. But there's a lot to go into, so I do want to do that at some point and probably break it up into a couple of different parts because it is a very long recording. It is on our YouTube channel. It is called oh, what is it? Is Sinaiticus a forgery or something? Hang on. Jinjin, methinks you would greatly benefit by a trip outside. Of course, I didn't check. So today is St. Patrick's Day, and I would love to turn the color of the light behind my bookshelf green, because it would actually show up on the grayish blue wall. Orange, I would do more because I am not Catholic, but then I don't want to get involved in the politics between Protestants and Catholics because I'm Baptist. So we'll probably just leave that like it is. Oh, let's see. There's John Wycliffe, and did St. Patrick make it in here? So I've included a lot of links in the description you guys can check out. They're all related to St. Patrick. I do not know what text type Patrick would have used, so I'm not sure if I'm able to bring that in on the live stream or not. I'm hoping that maybe Dr. Ruckman's church history will have something to go on, possibly. We will see. The debate is, I think I already mentioned that. The debate is about whether or not Sinaiticus, which is the second and only a pillar of the modern critical text, whether or not it was actually written in the 1800s. So it is a very interesting debate. You can also see, you can go to our website, cardcarryingchristians.com/untold Bible story, and that will give you Chris Pinto's documentaries. I would watch the one, I think it's called Tares Among the Wheat. A lot of that is actually dealing with the idea that Constantine Simonides actually wrote it in the 1800s as a gift to the Tsar of Russia in return for a printing press for his father's monastery. And it was a rough draft. So interesting stuff anyways. Patrick, which was not his name, by the way. Most people think that he was Catholic because the Catholics say so. They say a lot of things. And Paisley. Saint Patrick? If anybody has Ruckman's History of the Christian Church and can find the page, I believe it would be volume 1, so I'm probably looking in the wrong volume. Yay, I've got Daniel's book on it. Or yeah, I've got Daniel's book on it. Yep, okay. It doesn't really help now, Charles. Let's see. I think I'm looking in the wrong book, so I'm going to just go here. So bear with me, 4 people. We're going to get into some interesting stuff tonight. So, but long short of it, Patrick was not a Baptist in the sense of what we are now. A Baptist would stand for independence from Rome, independence from Protestant stuff. Basically just a Bible believer that believes the Bible and doesn't really care about people's creeds and things like that, you know. Just an independent Bible believer, plain and simple. Things like that. And that's exactly what he was. And if you guys want to check out the links in the description I highly recommend you listen to Jason Cooley's, I think it's a podcast. Here we go. Get myself a little bit less headspace. That's a little better. Let me see if I can. It's called The Baptist Battle for Liberty, St. Patrick was a Baptist, not a Catholic. There's a link for that down in the description. It's to sermon audio, and the thing is by Jason Cooley. It is, I believe, 70 minutes long, so it's a lot of stuff, but it's like it's loaded, absolutely loaded. And then we've got some books in there too. We'll try to get into most of this. I really want to try to make this a shorter one, because views on these longer ones are kind of suffering. So we shall see. I do want to go through the description with you guys and try to kick try to chase every rabbit and kick every dog that's in there. Let's see. Patricius, also St. Patrick. There we go. 237, 265. See if we can find the main area. 37. Which just as a nugget for right now. One of the main evidences, and we're going to get into why I call this the Sham-rock conspiracy. One of the main evidences that Patrick was not Catholic is that we have like all of the writings from the popes in that day. He was supposed to have been sent by Pope, what was it? Celestian, I think was his name. And Pope Sixtus and Leo were around the time of his ministry. And they don't mention him at all in their writings. You would think that if this guy was sent for the Roman Catholic Church and was reporting back to them, and that there was a great Catholic nation being formed, that they would at least mention something. But he never mentions the popes, and they never mention him. So the idea that he was sent by the Roman Catholic Church is very suspect. And we have some of his writings. We have at least two that everybody agrees are legit. Something of an autobiography and a letter. There's also a song that he apparently wrote as well. That is given more toward the end of Jason Cooley's presentation. Highly recommend you listen to that. It'll give you chills. That one's like, wow. So 237. He must be mentioned on this page in some capacity, but okay. While the churches were swelling with pagan members in Rome, Alexandria, Constantinople, and Carthage due to the policies of Augustine and Constantine, certain basic truths of the New Testament got an even wider circulation, regardless of the spiritual condition of those who heard them. It is truly remarkable when one considers it that the Goths up on the northwest side of the Black Sea had their own Bible in their own language, AD 350, which is just before the time of St. Patrick. He would have been about 380 something. They differ on the dates, early 370s. It's not really settled. He was supposed to have died at the age of 73, so and apparently today is supposed to be the anniversary of his death. So that's why that's going on today. Before Augustine was pronouncing a curse on the Donatists, and while Jerome was getting his Alexandrian cult Vulgate printed on the Holy Virgin Press at Rome, AD 400, a missionary in England, Patricus, that would be St. Patrick, his original British name, he was British, he was not Irish, was Mywin Socket, something like that. And Patricus, I believe, is his Roman name. Missionary in England, Patricus, well, Britain, because Ireland, Scotland, and I think Wales, and England are all the British Empire. And yeah, the Scottish cross, apparently, according to the Irish Protestants, is definitely there in the Union Jack. So I think I included that link down in there. If not, there's one by a guy named, last name I think is Johnson, and that audio is on our website. There's a link in the description, cardcarryingchristians.com/Roman Catholic, as one word. There's a flyer that we put up there. You guys feel free to check out that flyer. I can't hear myself anyway, so I might as well probably just take this out. There's a flyer there that you guys can check out. That I made yesterday, and if there's anything on there that you think I should add, change, if I should change the entire theme of it, just let me know. That'd be fine. Alexandrian call, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Was getting adults saved left and right and baptizing them. And by the way, he was baptizing by immersion. Another way that he was not Catholic. And if you look at the little Catholic cartoons or whatever, where it has them down in the water, they're walking up out of the water. Well, he sprinkles them. Or they're in the water and he sprinkles them, like you see in the paintings, with John the Baptist. And he's got them down in the water. And they have him Christ walk up out of the water. And then the dove comes down. So if you want to see something that is either Protestant, sprinkling Protestant influenced, then you'll usually see Christ walking up out of the water, because in the Bible it says that he went down into the water and he came back up. And John the Baptist, baptize means to immerse. The Greek word means to immerse. There is absolutely no debate about that. People just think that the Catholics just kind of changed it because they wanted to, and that's what they think too. So if you see something that is more scriptural, then it's usually going to depict Christ going down into the water, and then back up, and they're still in the water, and the dove's coming down. So that's just a brief, bonus, I guess. So many of the German warriors were professing faith in Christ that La Chère, I believe is the pronunciation, is driven to confess that the word Christian was not the same as the word Catholic. La Chère says that the Burgundians, southeastern France, became Christians, and so on and so on. I am not a Christian, I am a Catholic. We're trying to deal with Patrick, so I'm not going to finish the paragraph just for sake of time. 241. And he converted and baptized adults. That's not a very Catholic thing. If you were Catholic, then you'd be baptizing infants. He only mentions baptizing adults, men and women who are converted. $241. Do. Individual Christians in Thyatira period are still preaching the truth, but one can see by examining their sermons, St. Pat, Chrysostom, Columba et al., that the darkness is gathering. Although Patricus, St. Pat, 389 to 465, those are the dates that Ruckman gives, never goes to Rome and never recognizes the Pope, and although he baptized adult believers only, one still senses a lack of New Testament doctrine in his few surviving works. Okay. Senses a... okay. Chrysostom, Pope Damasus, so on and so forth. Note 85 is given at the end of the reference to St. Patrick, and this is The Lights Go Out, which is chapter... the only reason why I'm exploiting Dr. Ruckman's book right now is because, to my knowledge, this is the only one that I really have right now that deals with St. Patrick. Chapter 10, chapter 16. Chapter 14, chapter 3. Chapter 10. Note 85, correct? So Celtic Christianity was huge back then. St. Patrick actually founded 365 churches in Ireland. And there were also, another interesting thing about why he wasn't Catholic is because apparently there were no Catholic churches in Ireland until I think it was like 1120. You guys can listen to the stuff that Jason Cooley references in his audio there. Like I said, the link's in the description. Where did the St. Pat one go? We were on page 241. Okay. 85. Correct. Okay. He says 85. 25 chapters of confessions, which were written about AD 464, plus a letter to Croticus, Crendig in some writers, which comprises 10 chapters. The book Armugh, containing an Irish hymn called Saint Patricia Canticum Scoticum, Scaff 4, page 50 to 51. Okay. Well, whether or not those documents were actually legit is up for question. And from everything that I've heard so far, there wasn't much of Romanism anywhere near there. So, not enough to really be able to do anything really. They were still, as far as I'm aware, still trying to get their shoes under themselves. 265 to 267. Okay, here's the major section, Patricus. Patricus, AD 389 to 465. You guys can look that up at some point if you want to. I do want to get to my own conspiracy theories about this. So for those of you that don't have the book, I will read it. And if you guys get out your volume 1 of the History of the New Testament Church, I have it in one volume, so there's 2 in this one. This is on page 265 of volume 1. Patricus, AD 389 to 465. About 7 years before the Thyatira church period started, Revelation 2:18, a man died in Ireland and was buried in a grave, which is now the churchyard of the Protestant cathedral at Downpatrick, Ireland, of a Protestant cathedral. The tombstone simply says Patrick, with a C at the end, not a K. For all those Mandela effect people that can't understand how words in the King James Bible end with a CK when today they end with a C, like music and things like that. Anyhow, church historians refer to him as the Apostle to Ireland. St. Pat was the son of a deacon and the grandson of a priest. Stop right here. He wasn't a Catholic priest. He was, I think, a bishop. I think his father was a deacon and his grandfather was a bishop. It wasn't a Catholic bishop either, because bishops back then were called, they were just like pastors, basically. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but he wasn't, let's say he wasn't a very good Christian until something tragic happened. The tombstone simply says Patrick. Christian historians refer to him as the Apostle to Ireland. St. Pat was the son of a deacon and the grandson of a priest. He was born in Scotland near the village called Benaravim, Tabernia, something like that, which is now called Dumbarton, which may or may not be the exact place. And I will say also that I am slightly Irish. My grandmother was full-blown Irish, and I've got a lot of German in me, a little tiny bit of Indian, so I'm all messed up. He was born in Scotland near a village called such and such, which is now called Dumbarton. It is situated at the joining of the Clyde and Leven rivers. Patrick's father, called Calpurnius, a magistrate and a minister to the British Church at the time, AD 380 to 400, had nothing but Old Latin Receptus and the Old Latin, not Jerome Vulgate. 2 completely different things. And people make a big distinction about that for a reason, because apparently the Old Latin also used to be called the Vulgate. So it's easy to get those 2 confused. Which incidentally contains 1 John 5:7-8, and the supposed invented passage in Revelation 22. I'm not sure which one that is. I don't remember. And let me know if I am freezing at all. Like, if especially the audio. I don't care as much about the video. The audio, no. I don't. We can't tolerate the audio being screwed up. This explains why the Celtic Church of Britain for years followed the Byzantine order of Ignatius, Polycarp, and Chrysostom instead of the Roman order Papias, Cyprian, Clement, and Origen. Since these early Bible-believing, and I believe that's more of that would make more sense in the context of his textual discussion and throughout the book. Since these early Bible-believing Celts and Picts did not line up with Jerome or their Roman Catholic Church, the Roman writers consistently accused them of being pestilent heretics. Reference 83. Sorry, we're not going to all the references. This is not a video turning Ruckman's book upside down. I want to get to the Sham-rock conspiracy. Right now, I only have an hour left. I want to go for an hour and a half. I don't want to go too late, but maybe if we finish in time, we won't have to go too late. We'll see. Let's see. Okay, this is on 266. In St. Pat's letters, the Confession, consisting of 25 chapters, the letter to Corticus, consisting of 10 chapters, and a hymn written in ancient Irish, he is clear on some facts. He is not an Irishman. That's the first fact. He never mentions Rome or any pope in connection with anything biblical or Christian. That's the second fact. And he was not born on March 17th. Of course, he wasn't born on March 17th because he died on March 17th, apparently. And of course, he could not be very clear as to the day that he would die in his writings. Furthermore, Patricus was not canonized, made into a saint, until 4 centuries after his death. I don't think he's ever been canonized at all. From everything that I've heard over the last couple of days, he is not officially a Roman Catholic saint. He's more a folk saint, where people consider him to be a saint, and he's a popular opinion saint. Let's see. Furthermore, Patricus was not canonized, made into a saint until 4 centuries after his death, and he never even visited Dublin. The Irish guy, the Johnson, I think his name was, his last name possibly. He mentioned him baptizing in Dublin. And I remember that because the font that I used on my flyer, one of them, is called Dublin, and I was so happy. So, anyways, Patrick recognized only the scriptures as the final authority in all matters, in matters of faith and practice, and never appealed to a bishop, council, pope, or king for any religious advice regarding any spiritual issue. Unlike Origen, Clement, Augustine, and Eusebius, he evidently discounted philosophy, science, and Gnosticism as being worthless. Origen, Clement, and Augustine, I don't know about their opinions about Gnosticism exactly, but I was listening to Ken Johnson's video today about the Therapeute, or the Therapeute, which was supposed to have been a Gnostic cult down in Egypt. I think the jury's still out on that one, as to whether or not they were the actual Therapeute, or Therapeute, or if they were just called the same name. Because like Ken Johnson said, there's so many people today that claim to be Christian, and they're not Christian. It's obvious. You can walk down the street and meet somebody and, hi, I'm a Christian, and they are a Christian. And then you can go even further down the street, run into a cult, and they claim to be Christian too. And to people that aren't Christians, each Christian's the same as the last one, where the other ones would consider such and such person to be a cult, and they might have a lot of Gnostic teachings like the Mormons or the JWs or whatever. And that way, you have a lot of people that are apparently in this ancient time being referred to as Christians when they were, or as Therapeute, or Therapeute as they were, and as they were not. So there's just a lot of things to consider. And Eusebius's stuff about the Therapeute were very interesting to listen to. And I put a link to that on the Roman Catholic page, I believe. It should be at the bottom of the bonus content. By the way, if you guys are getting any value out of this video, don't forget to hit the like button. I see there's 4 people, and there's 3 likes. So if you hit the like button, that helps us with the algorithm. And if there should be a button with a little arrow down toward the bottom of this video, if you share that to your social media platforms while we're live, more people can jump in. And different things like that. And also, if you share it after the live stream is over, that helps other people be able to watch it. And like I've said before, that is the best, completely 100% free way. It takes about 10 seconds of your time to do this. And it's the best free way to actually support us because it gets us in front of more people and gets the truth out there just that much further. And then they share and then they share. So say you share it to one person and they share it to one person. That's 3 people already that we wouldn't have had before. If you shared it to 2 people and they shared it to 2 people, then that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's incredible how it can grow like that. So, and thank you for the additional like, guys. I appreciate that. And any comments too, that shows that we're getting interaction. That also helps us with the algorithm. All sorts and all kinds of different ways that you guys can help us for 100% free. Prayers and shares. Those are the best way to show that you care. Let's see. He was I really wish that he had paragraph breaks in here, but all he really has is the the tab in the indented first line, and then whatever is left at the end of the paragraph. So it really doesn't help being able to tell the difference between paragraphs very well. But I can understand if he would have had an entire line in between the paragraphs, or he could have separated them by half a line, just by changing the settings in InDesign or however they laid this out. But I understand that probably would have added another 20 pages to the book or so. Who knows? So for keeping it short and also keeping the text at a readable size, I can see why they did what they did. Not trying to bash the publishers at all. He was carried away from Scotland to Belfast, Ireland, when he was 16 or 14 years by a band of marauding Picts or Celts. So, and people differ as to whether or not they were Irish pirates or if they were Scottish pirates, but they would be Picts as well. And after 6 years, he escaped and returned to England, where he was again in captivity as a slave for a while. Upon receiving a commission in a vision, or a commission in a vision to evangelize Ireland, he returned and labored there for about 53 years. I heard 33. My apologies. Legend surrounds Patrick's work from start to finish, but the documents containing these fabrications were not gathered for publication as facts until St. Pat was Romanized by the Catholic Church in the 8th or 11th century. And the guy to really publish this whole idea that he had all these, crazy miracles, and the one Irish Protestant guy, I really got to get his name straight. He must be the only Irish person that I have right now at cardcarryingchristians.com, the little list of sources underneath the brochure or the flyer. It's got to be Johnson or something, I forget. But he said that the myth that he chased snakes out of Ireland was more or less because of the Jesuit who wrote that down to begin with. And a couple of interesting things. The reason, and people are always like, oh, he didn't drive snakes out of Ireland. There's no snakes even in Ireland. You want to know why? Because he drove them out? No. I guess they don't have the climate for it. However, I think that the idea that he drove serpents out of Ireland doesn't really refer to the slithery kind. Well, it might. Patrick himself speaks of having baptized thousands of grown men. He is credited with having started over 300 local assemblies, 700 according to some of his most extravagant backers. It is interesting to notice that after Patrick's death during the 6th and 7th centuries, that Ireland came to be called the Island of Saints. Stop right here. The Isle of Saints and Scholars. I don't know if that is just an earlier way of referring to it, as just the Island of Saints, but it is or was or whatever is also referred to as the Isle of Saints and Scholars because of all of the schools that he founded along with the churches that he started. Interesting. Literate people. The Dark Ages come along, wipe out literacy. Superstition reigns supreme. Centuries of literacy. Bill Schneblin, I listened to his video earlier on the Curse of the Irish. That in that video, which was pretty good, I liked it a lot. Gave me a lot of interesting information, and I won't go into it right now. He said that the Irish have always been an extraordinarily literate people. Saint Pat evidently was more than an anti-Roman Bible-believing Catholic. He was a missionary-minded evangelist. All of the monasteries set up following his ministry were missionary institutes located at Armagh, Banco, Colnar, Conmacnios, Darien, and Glendalough. Sorry to any Irish people that are watching this. They were organized to train missionaries in companies of 12 or 13 to convert sinners in Scotland, North Britain, France, Germany, Switzerland, and North Italy. The thousands of converts were listed to these listened to these evangelists were terrible misfits in the coming Holy Roman Empire, for there is no evidence that any Celtic church before AD 600 worshipped saints or adored Mary or believed that the Lord's Supper believed in the Lord's Supper as a transubstantiation and a sacrifice. Furthermore, the sacred book, which the monastic institutions were engaged in preserving, the monastic in the sense of being called a monastery, they weren't like what you would think of with, bald pot-bellied monks and everything, in brown robes and not getting married and nonsense like that. Apparently, he was married, and most of his evangelists that he sent out were also married. Also why he's not Roman Catholic. Furthermore, the sacred book, which the monastic institutions were engaged in preserving, was not Jerome's New American Standard Version. It was a Bible from the Old Latin, which came out of the Mediterranean area. But then, of course, 500 years, I believe, around 500 to 700 years after his death, Henry II, I believe it was asked by the Pope to invade Ireland so that they could take it over religiously and politically. And he did, and they did. We'll get into that in a bit. This God-given, God-honored, God-preserved Bible has survived the Diocletian's burnings, Origen's perversions, Jerome's revisions, and Pope Leo's anathemas. In spite of godly conservatives and reverent biblicists, the Word of God was still available in Europe to anyone who could read. And there were a lot of readers, by the way. Before Roman Catholicism wiped it out to keep everybody believing that, oh, we can just make up a nice story about trees walking or about such and such saint blessing some odd well, and you can just walk up to it and leave your bandages on a tree branch and it'll make you better. Things like that, Keep them superstitious. The way you do that is keep them ignorant. Keep them from reading. If you can keep people from reading, you can keep people in bondage. And there begins the Thyatira church period with the ascension of Symmachus to the papal throne AD 498 to 514. And blah, 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 blah. And 274, if there's any kind of information on that. We have mentioned Patricus. The missionaries that he trained undoubtedly went out into Scotland and Britain, and these missionaries, Columba or Columcille, born about AD 521, was the most effective. Columba founded a monastery off the coast of Scotland in the fog-bound islet called Ionia, the Hebrides Islands. From there, Columba evangelized Scotland and sent teams of missionaries, 12 or 13 in a group, down across southern France and over the canal to Normandy, Friesland, Belgium, Germany, and Denmark. Although Columba, as St. Pat, absorbed a few Catholic ways of looking at things, he and his converts were marked with that particular anti-Catholic stigma that first showed up around AD 168. That is, Columba and his missionaries and their converts observed the day of Easter according to the Byzantine reckoning of Antioch in Syria. They would not observe it on the annual Easter Sunday bunny egg hunt. Chapter 10, note 4. And then he goes on to the 9th successor of Columba, and so on and so on. So there's a lot in here. I don't have a link for this in the description, but you guys can go to, I'm not sure if it's available on Amazon or not, but you guys can pick up this one at KJV1611.org. You guys can look for the History of the New Testament Church, volumes 1 and 2, and it goes from 4 BC to 1984. Very interesting year. Oh, and I got this. Ha ha. The Abomination of Desolation and Supernatural Bible Changes by Katrina L. Martin. KJV Study Guide Revised Edition. I would love to see the King James translation that they would put out. It'd be so short. Oh, you could read the whole thing in a month. Like, super easy. Everything they don't agree with or remember or wish to be in the Bible, just completely gone. Every book of the Bible would be about 2 pages, probably. We mentioned Lucifer dethroned in the bottom of the description here. Gnostic origins of Roman Catholicism. Such as it is. Alright, I'm going to get into my notes a little bit. The Sham-rock conspiracy. What are the assumptions about St. Patrick? Well, that he was Catholic and that he dealt with shamrocks and things. I think that he did actually mention the shamrock thing. And he was apparently very Trinitarian. Very Trinitarian. And that is probably going to be hard for a lot of people to swallow, that a true Bible-believing Christian that early was also a Trinitarian. Which also might be a problem for Ruckman, because I know that he puts a lot of blame on the Catholic doctrines about the Trinity behind a lot of the Catholic killings of Christians. What evidence is there that he was not Catholic? Well, we've already gone through a lot of that. He was married. He didn't baptize people that were infants. He baptized converts only. Things like that. Now, just a few of the things that are actually mentioned. Roman Catholic theology on page 65 of this book, Gnostic Origins of Roman Catholicism. Essential doctrines, the authority of Scripture. Was Peter the first pope? Papal authority and infallibility. Idolatry, that is like bowing down to images and stuff. Prayers to saints and angels. Contemplative prayer. St. Anthony and the Desert Fathers. Transubstantiation, the Eucharist as a symbol. Spiritual presence, the imparting grace. Transubstantiation. Misquotes. Mary needed a savior. Mary's virginity. Baptism. Jesus only baptism. Baptism of heretics. Purgatory. Celibacy. Millennialism. There ain't no millennium. The Vicar of Christ, works salvation, priesthood of all believers. All these different things. I highly recommend you pick this up because it tells you what the first couple of centuries of Christians thought about those matters, and they were very not Catholic. Very not Catholic. One of them, I think, was Tertullian, which is, I think, actually a Catholic saint. He said that the idea that there is a middle ground, a purgatory where you get your sin nature burned off or whatever, that is another a Gnostic heresy, according to him. Oh, that's official Catholic doctrine now. That's interesting. Very, very interesting. He was not Catholic. He baptized men and women, not children or infants. Founded 365 churches. Not one Catholic church in Ireland until 1120 AD, something like that. You guys can please listen to Jason Cooley's audio, which is down in the description. Again, it is called The Baptist Battle for Liberty. St. Patrick was a Baptist, not a Catholic. And by Baptist, he means an independent, Bible-believing Christian, not what we think of typically today as being Baptists. Patrick never mentions the Pope. The Pope never mentions Patrick, even though we have lots of his writings. You would think that Pope Sixtus or Leo would be slightly aware of an enormous spread of Catholicism in the British Isles. Apparently not. What evidence is there that he was a Baptist? Baptized only saved adults by immersion only. Founded 365 churches, which were all Baptist. And I believe most of them still are, something like that. Took the Bible as his only authority and put no stock in man-made creeds. All right, we are at 1 hour, so I've got a whole half hour to theorize. Highly recommend that you check out the description. Let's go through the description first, quick, just so so we have all this. I don't think, can I do that? No, I don't want to do it on the computer. I might screw up my live stream. Okay, so here's what the description says. Ireland has been divided for centuries between Protestants and Catholics, but what if neither of them was there first? What if Ireland was first evangelized by the British converts of Paul from his fourth missionary journey? Ken Johnson mentioned this the other day. It wasn't on the Therapeutae. It was on... Trying to see if I can find that video for you guys real quick so you can watch that one where he mentions Paul's fourth missionary journey. Am I in watch later? Yes, I am. I want to go to history. By the way, there's a fairly good flannel graph by VeggieTales, part of the Sumo of the Opera. That's entertaining to watch. Green is not the color of Ireland. It kind of is because it's the Emerald Isle, but we'll get into the significance if we have time of orange being Protestant and green being Catholic, if we can. Oh, I don't know. It might have been part of the talk they did on the Therapeutae. I keep saying Therapeutae. Therapeute, whatever. So much easier to say. Therapeute. THERAPEUTAE. Eusebius's Description by Ken Johnson. Check that out. I think it's the right one. Anywho, back to the description. Because apparently after the book of Acts ended, Paul was released from house arrest and took a fourth missionary journey up around through Spain up to England. Bill Schneblin also mentions Aristobulus, who is mentioned in Acts, I believe. And if not, he's mentioned in the letters of Paul, I forget. And Joseph of Arimathea, who is also supposed to have gone up there. I think he has some connections with the Grail legends and such, but apparently he was also a tin merchant, and he had some business interests up in England, and he actually founded the first above-ground church in the West, which was in Britain. Around 40 to 50 AD. So very, very early. What if Ireland was first evangelized by the British converts of Paul from his fourth missionary journey? What if the Catholic Church has made up story after story to convince the world that Saint Patrick was Catholic? So Ireland's religion belongs to them. What if Patrick was actually a Baptist preacher / missionary? What if the wicked druid serpents, which are what he apparently drove out, which, no pun intended, I don't know how many actually left. I know a lot of them were converted, and the paganism that was there, they found the light of Christ. But I could see where a lot of the too far gone druids would have to leave. And you want to know why? Because when Druidism encounters Christianity a lot of the time, Druids lose their power, they get sick, all sorts of things. and they wouldn't be able to stay druids. They wouldn't be able to do anything. They'd basically be forced powerlessly underground, or they'd have to just flat out leave. And new converts that are, you know, when they read the Bible and they realize, you know, how much they've been deceived into worshiping shamrocks and sticks and things, they're not usually too happy with the people that told them to worship those things. But that's not going into the supernatural aspects of things, which we might do at some point. We'll have to see. I think that, what's his name? This guy? The Genesis 6 conspiracy guy? Gary Wayne. How secret societies and the descendants of giants plan to enslave humankind. Which I really wish that their cover wasn't so pixely. It'd be so much nicer. Back's pretty good. He goes into things like the Tuatha De Danann, which is basically the people of Dan, or the children of Dan. And how they relate to like fairies and little people and stuff like that. So that's a whole nother. Children of Dana, also gone into by Steve Quayle in his Little Creatures, his big book called Little Creatures. So that's where you get your leprechauns and things, which usually, apparently, leprechauns didn't wear green. They usually wore red. The green ones, I think, were... I forget. I forget my my stuff. What if the wicked druid serpents, the new Bible-believing converts drove off, returned in disguise to exact their revenge? This and more tonight. That's what we're doing right now. And we only have 2 viewers. Come on, guys, share the video. Share it to somebody you think will be interested. Post it on your Facebook timeline. If you have a YouTube channel, hit the little share button and it'll go to your community thing, your community tab. This video is not sponsored. Some product links are affiliate links, meaning if you buy something, we will receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. Of course, that is only if you buy in 24 hours. And also if you click the Amazon affiliate links. So anyhow, videos. First video or audio, your choice on sermon audio. The Baptist Battle for Liberty. St. Patrick was a Baptist, not a Catholic, by Jason Cooley. Israel's Secret Past by Joel Tillis. Scary picture alert. Okay, so if you don't have kids, if you do have kids, you know, don't click that link because there's like, you know, so a little scary. Joel Tillis deals a lot with paranormal podcasty stuff. So that's why that's there. St. Patrick and the Curse of the Irish by Bill Schneblin. And then there's a link for that. For more videos and audios, please check out our website, cardcarryingchristians.com/Roman Catholic, as one word. Now there's only one viewer. Come on, guys. Here, let me be a good example. Share newsfeed. Post. I'm a good example because I posted it to my wife's timeline. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Deuteronomy, sorry. Deuteronomy 32, 31 to 33. How should one chase 1,000, starting in verse 30? And 2 put 10,000 to flight, except the rock had sold them and the Lord had shut them up. For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. This is why it's called the Sham-rock. Sham-rock. This rock is a sham. Their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is the vine of Sodom, and their fields and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asps. Sodom and Gomorrah, grapes of gall. Bill Schneebling gets into it more in The Curse of the Irish, which of course is alcohol. I've heard this before. Apparently his grandmother used to joke that that God invented whiskey to keep the Irish from ruling the world. I tend to agree on that. There's a lot of stuff too about the red-haired people being associated with different tribes of giants and stuff like that. We're not going to go into all of that tonight because I don't have all of that fresh in my mind, and we're trying to deal with St. Patrick more, who, well, in fact, wasn't even Irish, but he was the missionary to the Irish. Their rock, Roman Catholic rock. Oh, Peter is our rock. Nah, wow, that's scary because he was infected with Satan right after he told the truth and was revealed something by the Spirit of God, which is interesting in the New Testament. Even our enemies themselves being judges. People that believe the Bible, Protestants, Baptists, whatever, they accept the Bible as it is, they take it as their firm foundation. This rock is not as the rock of Roman Catholicism and the Holy Mother Church and stuff like that, because, it's so much better to have a Roman Catholic Pope than a paper Pope. Not necessarily. Not necessarily at all. Because he can die and he can corrupt. This can't. And he can say whatever he wants to about it and add whatever books he dreams should be in the Bible. But it doesn't affect the canon that we have, that we've always had, and that we're going to stick to. Because that rock is a piece of nonsense, like an idol. For their vine is the vine of Sodom. How much sodomy is in Roman Catholicism, especially with celibacy of the priesthood. How much scandal, how much pedophilia, how much goes on without us knowing. Centuries of it. Absolute centuries. Everyone from popes outrightly writing about, doing stuff with boys and stuff like this, to and just it's everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Everywhere that this spirit goes, everywhere that this vine goes, their vine is of the vine of Sodom. Not, I am the vine near the branches. Not that. This is different. And of the fields of Gomorrah, their grapes are grapes of gall. Gall, Gaelic. The clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asps. Interesting. So the venom of the asps is back in Ireland and being consumed on a regular basis. The poison of dragons. Dragons are very closely tied to snakes, i.e., asps, dragons. I mean, like lizard people, like, I don't know. There's probably some government experiments or hybrids of some sort or shape or degree or whatever that are just people that have been victimized in a Dr. Moreau kind of way. And that's horrifying. But there are others that are quite evil and wicked and very closely tied with Mormonism, Druidism, and what Mormonism really is, according to Bill Schneblin, and him having been a very high-ranking Mormon for many years. Mormonism was founded by witches for witches in trouble, where they could go, they could hide, they could camp out, they could hide from trouble or whatever. As a druid, he memorized this certain prayer that was said in song. And carpooling with an older Mormon lady at one point, she was humming the same tune that he recognized, and he's like, "Oh, this is very interesting. I'm going to ask her where she heard that." So he asked her, "Oh, well, that's a catchy tune. Where did you hear that from?" And she's like, I don't know. I heard it somewhere." The wife of another very high-ranking Mormon official of some kind or other. I forget exactly what he said. You guys can look that up in Bill Schneblin's channel. But yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff with Mormonism and lots of other cults, Gnostic, Masonic kind of cults, things like that. I like how you research your subject. I appreciate that, Daniel. I just try to listen to everything that I can, and you know, try to separate fact from fantasy. And this is also my spot where I can just dump all the conspiracy nonsense that I want to, whether or not a lot of it is necessarily true. This is why I'm bringing it up, because if it's not true, then people can laugh at it and they can ignore it safely. If it is true, it cannot be laughed at and ignored safely. Anyways. So this wine, this poison of dragons, cruel venoms of asps, venom of asps, I think there's something about the dragons in the Isles and their pleasant palaces or something like this. That's also very interesting. And I'm planning to do I'm planning to do a video possibly this coming Friday. I'm not sure. Same bad time, same bad YouTube, about dragons. We will see if we get into that discussion. I'm sure that would be very fascinating for a lot of people. But we will see. And I think it was Ireland where they had the one forest where the flying snakes would live, and all the way up into modern times. Actually, I think the last reference to that I've heard of was sometime in the 60s. So all kinds of stuff. And the reason why I bring in Israel's Secret Past by Joel Tillis is because that is very interesting regarding the civilization of Israel and how, mighty King Solomon. Well, he might have had some trade routes, might have gone someplace, but, not really anything huge. No. No. That makes no logical sense when you're reading the Bible, and once you listen to the Soul Trap podcast, there's probably some British Israelism that can be justified with that kind of stuff, but really, it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be. There's a lot more fascinating information that is available that is not that does not demand those kind of things. It really doesn't. Okay, so the books. The Ancient British and Irish Churches, including the Life and Labors of St. Patrick by William Cathcart. There's an Amazon link for that. Roman Catholicism, Her False Doctrines, Corrupt Bibles, and Violent Sinful History by Kevin W. Christie. I got you, Kevin. He's part of our group on Messenger. There's a Amazon link for that. Patrick of Ireland, Not a Romanist by J. Lewis Smith. I believe it was 1942. If I'm wrong on that, let me know. I would love a copy of it, but I can't find one. And there's a Google link to the Google Books page on that one. It's not on Amazon. It's not on Abe Books. Maybe it's buried in somebody's library. Maybe Charles Evans has it. He has every other book on earth. Maybe it's in some obscure bookstore. I've got no idea. I'd love a copy, though. That would be amazing. Which, by the way, there are only two. We have limited our support links. We've choked down on it. We've simplified it. We've streamlined it. We are going to be going forward with Buy Me a Coffee. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/Joseph Armstrong as one word, and there's a little spot there where you can actually buy us a book. So you guys can donate money through that. And there's also a wish list tab there where you guys can check out the other needs of our family and our ministries there on Buy Me a Coffee. And you can go to our spread shop under Buy Yourself Something Awesome. And you can get mugs, you can get shirts, you can get aprons, you can get dog bandanas, you can get everything. Anything you can print on, you can get from Bible Version Conspiracy .myspreadshop as one word .com. So you guys can go there, you can order whatever you want to. We get a little bit of money back from that. You guys get something awesome. We both win. It's a good day. And really, to be completely honest, I think we actually kind of get a little bit shortchanged. But I mean, getting merchandise sold, we get like a third of the actual cost, something like that, which is really incredible for making on a shirt. A design could cost, depending on the value of it to the person getting it, from $50 to $200, really. And I obviously make them myself. And then we get, for a purchase, we get, say $7 off of a $21 shirt or something like that. So not bad at all. So that's what's in the description. Let me go back up through the books real quick because I missed a couple of those. Lucifer Dethroned by Bill Schneblin. Highly recommend that. Also with the idea of holidays and when to watch out, when to be careful. There's an appendix at the end of the book. I believe it's in an appendix where he lists all of the dangerous times of year when, druids and people like this are looking for human sacrifices and things, when you might, or cats even, keep your cats inside if you live in the city or whatever, if you don't want your cat to get roasted. Or potentially eaten alive by somebody. Sorry. Let's see. The Gnostic Origins of Roman Catholicism by Ken Johnson. When was that? Because it shows the progression of Roman Catholicism from different Gnostic doctrines and stuff. Prophecies about Papal Rome. Rise and Fall of Babylon. This is a fascinating book. If there is one book that you pick out of the list of books that I put in the description, one, I would be hard pressed to pick the best one out of a few of them. And All of Thy Word is great, but it's huge. After the Flood is great, but it's also pretty good sized. Ancient Post-Flood History, historical documents that point to a biblical creation by Ken Johnson. That one's also really good. Highly recommend this one, though. This one might be my top pick out of the books in the description. Like I said, there's an Amazon link in the description for this one. I Iconoclastic controversy. I've got to get into this. Not really the time right now, but there's a part in there where the Pope basically invites all the heretics to come to Rome because that's where it's at. You got out by your church, come on down to Rome. We'll take you. Wonder why they're so screwed up. So there's that one, In Awe of Thy Word by Gail Riplinger. The first link is to AV Publications, which is her website, avpublications.com. And that link is where you guys can buy it from her directly, or there's also the Amazon link. And After the Flood, our first extra that we've ever posted on Buy Me a Coffee. A free PDF that you guys can pick up of ancient post-flood history, historical documents that point to biblical. Nope, wrong one. Scratch that. After the Flood by Bill Cooper. The Ken Johnson one deals with like everybody in a couple of pages. Bill Cooper takes the Table of Nations in Genesis, the one right after the flood, and the list of generations right after the flood, and he goes back in ancient like Welsh and Danish and different documents like this and traces them back to Noah. There's a king's list that go back to Noah, and just reading this book, because and I really don't want to get in on the whole racist thing and stuff like that, but you know, your constant shaming about you horrible white people, and the Irish and the Celts and the Vikings, and you guys are all a bunch of barbarians whacking your wives over the heads with clubs and dragging them off into the cave, and just running through the woods naked and stuff like this, while we were in our temples in golden robes and stuff like this. It's a very misleading history. And Bill Cooper, the guy with the creation science movement, I think, not the Behold a Pale Horse Cooper guy. He really gets into it, and he exposes a lot of the amazing history of the European peoples of Japheth as he moved out and his children moved out into Europe, and just gives a tremendous historical background that I think that we, as I guess the children of Japheth, kind of need, because as far as I'm aware, I only have Japhethite blood in me, unless, of course, the Indians kind of went differently, but I don't think they actually came over from Asia. That's a whole nother thing in itself. It's something that I think that we need to give us moorings, to give us a sense of historical grounding, value, stuff like this. So you guys there's a link down in the description to where you can buy the physical book on Amazon, or you can go to the link that I get right after that, where you can download the free PDF of After the Flood. buymeacoffee.com/Joseph Armstrong/E. That would be in our extras. Ancient post-flood history, historical documents that point to, and you can pick that up for free. There's no charge. Ancient post-flood history, historical documents that point to biblical creation by Ken Johnson. That one was the first book that me and my wife ever read by Ken Johnson, and it blew us away. It is absolutely fascinating. It is deep. It is huge. Do I have my copy here? I don't know. We'll see. We're at 131 right now. I gotta hurry. It'll knock your socks off, guaranteed. For more books, please check out our website, cardcarryingchristians.com/Roman Catholic and cardcarryingchristians.com/After the Flood. Help us grow by supporting our channel below. buymeacoffee.com/Joseph Armstrong and Bible version conspiracy /myspreadshop, or no, .myspreadshop.com. Okay. St. Patrick versus the Snakes was by Home of the Holidays. I watched this video recently. The driving of the snakes is a legend that is symbolic of Christianity, which is Catholics, according to this guy. Suppression of ancient religions. I can't believe those stupid Christians are always suppressing ancient religions. What's with them? What are these ancient religions? Why don't you tell us what they did to people? Why don't you tell us what these religions are still doing to people? There's good parts of them that you are told a lot about, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we really aren't supposed to know about. And it's pretty darn scary. So before you go defending the poor Catholic, or not the poor Catholics, the poor Aztecs or whatever else, from the stupid Christians that went and killed them all because they were killing people and stuff. And I'm not totally justifying that either, because the Catholics did a lot more damage and a lot more sacrifice of people for their religion and to their political system than probably the Aztecs even did. But I mean, they would sacrifice massive groups of people. It wasn't just one person every equinox or something like that. They would sacrifice everybody that they took captive or whatever else, but not justifying any of that, and not justifying the Roman Catholic Church and all of their murders and all of their debauchery and all of their horrible wickedness throughout the centuries. Protestants have done enough of it too, but I'll tell you one group of people that hasn't. That's Bible-believing Christians, typically known as Baptists. We don't kill people. We don't, we will defend ourselves. Yes. But are we going to go out and go, you're from a different religion, you're worshiping sticks and rocks and things like that, and I'm going to kill you for it? We don't do that. We believe in liberty of conscience. We will try to persuade people otherwise. We will pray for people. We'll do things like that. But mostly we just get very saddened by things like that because we know the truth and we know how people could be made free. And they still reject it. But anyways. This would actually probably be a good time to read. If you guys go to that page that I mentioned, cardcarryingchristians.com/Roman Catholic, you will see the flyer that I made. Here's a little bit of a preview of it, I guess. Patrick, how a British Baptist became the patron saint of Ireland. I always thought I'd be irresistible with an Irish or Scottish accent. But I'd have to learn how to conjure one up, and I just don't have the time right now. Fact 1. The boy who later became known as St. Patrick, the Apostle to Ireland, was born in Roman-dominated Britain around the year 387 AD. Although he would not arrive in Ireland until he was 14, some people say 16, like Ruckman, as a slave, he would one day escape slavery and return to Ireland as the greatest missionary to the Emerald Isles, as the greatest missionary the Emerald Isle has ever seen. Fact 2. Christianity was brought to Ireland before Patrick was even born. Dr. Ian Paisley, by the way, disagrees with that because he would see that Christianity as being more Catholic, but he would attribute, more Protestant or biblical doctrines and beliefs to St. Patrick. Anyways. This early Christianity had been preached from the first century and was completely independent of Roman Catholicism. Patrick was also completely independent of Rome and today would be considered a Bible-believing Baptist. Oh, and also if you go to Card Carrying Christians, we made a newsletter about this too. I like how it turned out. Writing it out was a lot of fun. I don't think I'm going to take time to read it tonight. If I do, we'll see. But you guys, there's 2 buttons underneath this flyer. One of them is to download a free PDF, and the other one is to view the newsletter. If you guys want to subscribe to our newsletter, Tales of the Elders of Ireland, that sounds interesting. If you guys want to subscribe to our newsletter for cardcarryingchristians.com, you guys can go push on that button, and then there's a little subscribe button too that can get you added to the mailing list. Ireland being made free by faith in Jesus Christ through the missionary work of Patrick, the demonic sorcerers known as druids who once ruled Ireland with terror, that's fact 3 because they did, were either saved by true faith in Christ, as many are being today. Enter Bill Schneblin. As many are being today, that is druids being saved. They were either saved, so that drives out a snake right there. The devil's connected to this poor druid person are gone, and they are set free. There goes that serpent spirit that was afflicting them. And this is real stuff, guys. I'm not just making this up off the top of my head. You guys might sympathize with the ancient religions as much as you want to. I would highly recommend that you read Ken Johnson's book on the fallen angels, and I would also recommend Bill Schneblin's book, links in the description, Lucifer Dethroned. And we just recently added a link to 2 channels that I enjoy. If you guys want to get into, don't watch any of the videos if you don't want to end up watching all of them, especially the Can-Am Missing Project. The Confessionals and the Can-Am Missing Projects are now officially featured channels that we enjoy on our YouTube channel. And yeah, if you think that this stuff is harmless and demonic stuff doesn't actually happen, it's all just made up by the Roman Catholic Church to keep people in, servitude of some kind. Yeah, no. And the Can-Am Missing Project thing, a lot of that is because of a very interesting race of things. Cat Hansen, not Crazy Cat, not the Crazy Cat lady of the Mandela effect stuff. Cat Hansen knows more stuff about paranormal and things from firsthand experience than anybody I've probably seen. And she attributes most of the missing stuff to fallen angels, and they have a certain name that I probably won't get into, but that's the whole missing part of it. So if you want to start having this crazy stuff become a part of your modern reality, if you are a skeptic and stuff like this of everything that even smells of Christianity or the Bible, then I highly recommend that if you want to start introducing your brain to something that is unexplainable, things that are deep, things that are that are defeated by the mighty name of Christ Jesus, I highly recommend you check those out. Charles Evans, yes. We believe these druids were either saved by true faith in Christ, as many are being today, driven into hiding, or forced to flee Ireland completely. And also, as a disclaimer, Cat Hansen, I will say, is not always right. In my opinion, she has some things that are mixed in there that I don't agree with and that I don't see as being correct, but she would see herself as a Christian of a certain persuasion. And anyways, enough for that. At least I do enjoy listening to her, I will say that. And she has a lot of really good information that makes me very worried. We believe that these snakes, which were driven off, would return not necessarily the individuals, but possibly also the individuals, because there is no way that the whole infiltrate the church thing started recently, or that the druids would have no idea how to do it. We believe that these snakes, which were driven off, would return wearing purple robes and crucifixes, claiming brotherhood with Partick, and thus make their revenge on the churches that Partick founded. Control of the Emerald Isle, again, would be theirs, as she plunged back into a dark age. And that would be about 500 years after Partick's death. I think around 700 or so, something like that. For more information on Partick and Roman Catholicism, please visit cardcarryingchristians.com/Roman Catholic. That is the flyer for our Roman Catholic page, and eventually I want to make a flyer for all of the 50-plus pages. So far, we have 4. So there's a lot coming, guys. If you guys want to keep on the cusp of it, you guys can join our messenger groups, Card Carrying Christians hyphen or dash, whatever you want to call it, updates, or Bible version conspiracy dash updates. And that's where we post most of our updates at the current time, because we don't really have a fan base on Patreon or the Bible version conspiracy. So I do still post to both of them, but not as consistently as I will be to Messenger, because that's where people can tune in for free and receive updates without becoming members. Let's see. Bill Schnebel and the Curse of the Irish. Legend of calling fire down from heaven. That's very interesting. He did apparently, though, light a huge bonfire up on top of the Kirk. I forget what it was called. very important druid high place, challenging all of the forces of hell in that very moment. The king exclaiming, if we don't extinguish Patrick's fire, it will consume all of Ireland. And he eventually became a Christian himself, as I believe did his slave owner, who was a druid high priest, I believe, of some capacity, and also burned down his barn because he said that he would rather burn it down than risk becoming a Christian. And I believe eventually it was turned into a church. By Patrick. If I'm not flip-flopping my facts, like I said, guys, listen to the Jason Cooley video. Very good. Joseph of Arimathea to Britain, possibly a first above-ground church in the West, in Glastonbury, England, 40 to 50 AD. And Gaelic, that Gaelic Bible. Gail Riplinger gets into that a lot in that word, or the Gothic Bible, which I believe had the foundations of the first English Bible, so the Gothic. And then I think that was the one that was translated into Gaelic or something. I forget. Anyways, highly recommend that book too for a lot of early British Christian history. Fascinating stuff. I have always been very the fascination just seizes me whenever I'm just like, wow, Christianity all the way up in Britain at this point, and apparently it extended beyond that, but I digress. We'll get into that in future episodes. And now there is a podcast tab on YouTube, and I plan to use that. I don't know how I'm going to use it yet, but I think I'm going to plan to. It may be different from the live streaming thing. We'll have to see what its capabilities are, and we'll see how that works out. But things coming in the future. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel, get all notifications turned on, so you'll find out when things drop. Aristobulus evangelized central and eastern Britain. Tuatha Da Danann colonized Britain around 1500 BC, the children of Dan. And Yar-Davidi, in his work on the 10 Lost Tribes, says that Dan went to Northern Europe. Dan. So that's where Gary Wayne, wherever his book went, it's somewhere. Gary Wayne's book gets into that a lot. That's the Genesis 6 conspiracy. The Irish have always been extraordinarily literate, Bill said. This is in Bill Steblin's video on the Curse of the Irish, which just came out 3 days ago. Well, now 4 days ago, because it's 12:07. Apparently Jeremiah also left Egypt with the 2 daughters of Zechariah. I think he might have misquoted that. Jeremiah 41:10. And went with them to Ireland. Statue of Elam Falah, the lawgiver in front of the Irish Parliament, claimed to be Jeremiah. Curse of the Irish. They like to drink. Irish, some of the most oppressed people in history. They were cheaper than buying a black slave in America because they died quickly in the heat. God created whiskey, apparently, to keep the Irish from ruling the world. Whiskey is Gaelic for water of life. If you have 1 Irishman, you have a tenor. If you have 2 Irishmen, you have a fight. If you have 3 Irishmen, you have a brawl. And if you have 4 Irishmen, you have a police force. Northern Ireland. My wife is helping our kid. You hear there in the background, possibly. Northern Ireland, Protestant part of UK. Irish very sensitive to the spiritual world. British caused potato famine with the forced monoculture on the Irish, depleting their soil and causing blight. Irish cheaper than black slaves because they died in the heat much quicker. Around 700s, Augustine, not the African guy, not Augustine of what was it, Carthage, I think, not that guy, not the LXX guy, different Augustine. Strong-armed the British Isles under Rome. So you can see Bill Cooper's After the Flood, where he killed Christians all over the place. Rome comes in and kills everybody that won't convert to them. They've done that for centuries. Things don't just change overnight. They just already pretty much have control, so they don't really need much else. You can see Bill Cooper's After the Flood, and that would be the Synod of Whitby, 664 AD. Where the snakes come back to the Emerald Isle and plunge it into darkness, the darkness of the Dark Ages. And we already mentioned the grapes of gall, Deuteronomy 32, 31 to 33. Australia, the British penal colony for the Irish. And Bill lives in Dubuque, Iowa. Slaves to food and drink. I believe Dubuque, Iowa is also the place where you get beat up if you don't wear the green of St. Patrick. And if you're a medical responder coming to respond to the severe injuries that have occurred because of said brawl, you will get beat up too if you're not wearing green. I believe that's Dubuque, Iowa. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. Constantly getting these texts. Show your accounts on hold. Oh, really interesting. What account? Anyways. So yeah. I don't know if there's anything else I can really cover right now. I've given you guys a lot of different sources you guys can check out. There's also the Tales of the Elders of Ireland that discusses St. Patrick's some that Daniel Jones brought in. Different things. So I don't think there's anything else that I really want to bring up. 153 is not too bad. That's only 23 minutes over what I wanted. I'm probably gonna have to stick with the cheap dongle that I had before, because the Anchor ones, they can't power the laptop at the same time. I don't know why they're supposed to be able to, but I think I have to send this one back too. So, tech updates. Absolute total nonsense. So yeah. And also, if you guys have any topics that you want me to get into on live streams, that'd be awesome. If enough people want me to, I can read a book, whatever. Not like I'm out of ideas or anything. Like I said, there's more than an abundance of content. It's just that if I know what you guys are interested in at this current time, it'd be easier for me to actually get into things that would actually be watched by people. And that Ken Johnson video on the Therapeute, he also gets a lot into the LXX and how it differs in its chronology from the Hebrew and from like everything else, and why it does, and some of the stuff that Origen said about the Septuagint and how and why it disagrees with the Hebrew text, and how, Mr. Woodward, the Bible does not need to be rebooted. That's another thing that I want to get. I want to get both of his books on rebooting the Bible. It's about $50, so we are saving up for that, and you guys can contribute to us furthering our research and our books and stuff like this by checking out the second link in our support area in the description. Buy us a book at buymeacoffee.com/Joseph Armstrong, as one word. Alrighty. Let me breeze through the comment section real quick. And this is a subscribers only mode chat. So if you were watching this and you were not able to comment, that's why. If you want to subscribe, that will make it so you can join in on the live chats in the future. We are not a paid subscription yet. There is a join button that can be added later on when we get more subscribers and stuff like this. I do plan on doing that and have a program actually here on YouTube where people can interact live with us by joining and becoming members and helping to support our channel monetarily. So right now we are 100% free. We'll probably end up at that point, I'd imagine, do 2 live streams. One that goes down deep, stays down long, comes up dry with the members, and then another one that is just a public chat. Still over at Mom. Hi, peeps. What is the debate about? Yeah, I've got Daniel's book on it. And yes, Bill Cooper actually wrote a book on whether or not Sinaiticus was a forgery as well. And apparently David W. Daniels read that and read, I forget who it was that wrote basically I think like a dissertation refuting a lot of the things that Bill Cooper mentions in there. And that David Daniels said that he avoided the problems that Bill Cooper had. I have it when I get home. Reference church history. Praise God, flaming fire street preachers. You guys are in that vein, that line of descent, that heritage of Saint Patrick. Misa back. Welcome back, Jar Jar. Like how you really research your subject. Thank you. I've just got a lot of crazy stuff to say about almost everything. Great discussion. Very interesting topic. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that too. You're just full of all kinds of nice things to say, and I don't even know who you are. I'm sorry. You can PM me on Facebook. I'm going to give this again. I didn't put it in the description again. You guys can PM me, private message me on Messenger. I'm under Joseph Armstrong, or also Bible Version Conspiracy. You can go to Facebook, the Bible Version Conspiracy. You can look that up, and I should probably put that link in the description at some point too. Or you can go to our main YouTube page, and there's the little links up on the top there. The Facebook page is in there. You can go there. You can private message me there. You can comment on posts, whatever you want to do. Or you can email me directly at BibleVersionConspiracy.com. BibleVersionConspiracy.com, nonsense. BibleVersionConspiracy@gmail.com. That's where you can email me. And if you have any questions related to card-carrying Christians, you guys can go to cardcarryingchristians.com. And at the bottom of every page, we include a contact form. There's also a contact us tab, I believe. And you can also email us directly at cardcarryingchristians@gmail.com. So yeah. I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, we'll be meeting same bad time, same bad channel, same bad old YouTube next week, Friday night. Until, of course, we get $440 to be able to get a new audio setup, and maybe we can actually do this during, regular business hours or whatever. So whatever time would be best for everybody. And it went to 2 hours. I did not want to do that, but there was plenty to talk about, and I didn't get to everything that I could have. So highly recommend that you guys listen to those audios down there. Check out those books down there in the description, and make sure you go to cardcarryingchristians.com/Roman Catholicism, and you guys can also read the newsletter that we did about the St. Patrick's stuff, and listen to all audios that are there and then some. To it because I plan listening to a lot more on the subject of Patrick being Baptist, a Bible-believing Christian, and not in any way, shape, or form Catholic until way after his death, where the snakes came back and had to convince everybody that he was one of them in order to get the people to accept what they were doing. Thank you for watching. God bless, and I look forward to hearing from you. Any comments that you leave on any of my videos, I will see them, and I hope to come up with some more short videos soon, and finish the Gail Riplinger's New Age Bible Versions Chapter 2 shortly. And yeah, I bought a new software, which I think is just a new version of SpeechJello called Revoicer, and that's making things a lot easier. Much better layout, more efficient. I like it. And also a much better voice that I'm using now, rather than the one that was on the first couple of installments in that. You actually don't have to leave. No, but you know what I should do? When I get to the point and I want to get a lot more organized with this channel. Break things down, make a schedule, because right now I've just started a schedule where I work on Bible version conspiracy stuff Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I work on Armstrong graphic stuff on Tuesday, and I work on card carrying Christian stuff on Thursday. I've just gotten that system set up. So once I have more of a system, and I've got to get a system for reading the books behind me. There's many of them that I just want to start reading and just devour them all up. But there's a couple that I just need to just get into and read carefully. And being not a reading learner, it's very hard for me. So the more audiobook that I can either create myself or use an app to read to me, or if my wife can read to me as we drive, that's much better. And if I can read along with something and write notes in the margin, it's just 20 times better for me being able to remember things and writing notes and making scripts and just different things like that. So anyways, yeah, we're going after this channel thing. We're going after it hard. I appreciate your guys' support. You guys are supporting us just with the mere fact that you watched this video, and I appreciate that immensely. Like I said, prayers and shares, that'll support us for free. And if you guys want to donate monthly, you can do so at buymeacoffee.com/Joseph Armstrong. So yeah, that's how that is for now. Phone died, but on PC now. Aw, poor spray arm. Your phone died. Sorry to hear that. One of the calling hours. Boom. All right. That's a me joke original. And for those of you that have stuck around to the end of this video, I am proud of you. I'll give you my other original Joseph joke. There are many original Joseph jokes, but I can't remember all of them. The one that has stuck with me the longest. What do you call a punk kid? You know, like earrings, hair, all that stuff. What do you call a punk kid with dandruff? Crumbs along the mohawk. Boom. All right. I better hurry up before I decided to quit my day job and become a comedian. Have a good night, guys. Thank you very much for staying with us.